Hello everyone, this is the second lesson recording for IM1, January 29th, 2021. Okay, so when we are translating a situation into a mathematical equations, remember, math is just another language. It has its own vocabulary, it has its own notations and grammar and rules. So in order to translate an English to another language, the math language, then you need to be thinking about, okay, what are some key symbols that translate in English to some English phrases. So when you see addition, these are the phrases that you can be represented by addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and equal sign. So for now, I would like you to pause the video and copy all of these down, including what the turnaround words are, and you can try to do that in another color and circle it just like I did. In fact, instead of saying this should be not added to, but it should be circled over more than. So that's a correction. Okay, so let's just focus on addition subtraction words. So addition words are sum of, plus, total of, added, more than, and together and combined. Whenever you see any of these phrases in your situation description, then you should be thinking about, okay, I think we're talking about addition. When you see these phrases, difference of, minus, subtracted from, decrease by, fewer than, less than, take away, you should be thinking subtraction. So let's do some examples. Okay, so when you see 5 plus 7, can you translate English into math? Okay, 5 plus 7. Literally, this just means 5 plus 7, like so. Okay, let's get a little bit more tricky. 12 decreased by 3. So decrease by, okay, instead of just going to the table, think logically. When something is decreased by, that means something has become smaller. It's smaller in number or value, right? So what is the operation that makes a number smaller? It's a subtraction or division, but in this case, it is really subtraction. So decrease by, you see it in this list, so that means it's a subtraction. So 12 subtraction 3. So that's going to be 12 minus 3. What about sum of a number and 8? Sum of, you should be thinking addition. Sum of a number, we can represent the number as a variable n or x, whatever letter you want to use, and 8. So number n and 8, and the operation between that is addition because it's sum of. So n plus 8. What about difference of 5 and a number? Difference is a subtraction word. So difference of 5 and a number is 5 and n. So it's going to be, operation is subtraction, so it's going to be 5 minus n. How about this one? 5 subtracted from n. Is it just, I know that subtracted is a subtraction word. Okay, so is that going to be 5 minus n, just like the previous one? But this says it's subtracted from n. So what are we starting with, and what are we taking away? We're starting with the number n, and we're taking away 5. So in this case, it's not 5 minus n, but it's actually n minus 5. So it's n minus 5 here. And subtracted from is what we call a turnaround word. Okay, turnaround word is where the order is reversed. Up to now, whatever the number you saw first, you wrote it down first, and then followed by the second number. So 5 plus 7 and 12 plus 3, 12 and 3. So the order was exactly as you saw in English. However, in this case, logically, 5 is taken away from n, so you actually need to start with n and take away 5 from it. So the order is reversed, and there are a few more words like that where it forces, the operation is the correct one. However, the order in which you manipulate the numbers or the variable is reversed. So, and those are fewer than, less than, and again it should be more than, not added to. So it's more than, fewer than, less than, and subtracted from are all turnaround words, and that's how you would use it. So let's try to use that. So 9 more than a number. 9 more than a number. Again, more than is a addition word, but it is a turnaround word. So it's not going to be 9 plus n, but it's going to be n plus 9. However, you might be telling me that it doesn't really matter whether it's n plus 9 or 9 plus n, because addition, the order does not matter. Okay, so just like 2 plus 9 and 9 plus 2 is exactly the same. They're both 11, so it doesn't really matter. However, in subtraction, it does matter, doesn't it? If I do 2 minus 9 versus 9 minus 2, that makes a huge difference, right? Because 9 minus 2 is 7, but 2 minus 9 is negative 7. So the 7 and negative 7 are two different numbers. So yeah, with addition, it really does make a huge difference. With addition, with subtraction, it makes a difference, but with addition, no, it doesn't make a huge difference. But it's good to remember that they are turnaround word, because it will make more sense to you. What about 4 fewer than a number? Fewer than is a turnaround word. That means it's going to be n minus 4. Great. Then let's explore the multiplication division words. Okay, multiplication division. Multiplication can be represented as a parenthesis or with an X, or now more commonly we're going to represent it as a dot or parenthesis. We don't use the X as much anymore. In fact, we don't want to use it anymore at all, because we're dealing with a lot of variable X, right? So when you see a X as a multiplication and X as a variable, then it gets really confusing. So I want you to stop using X as a multiplication and start using the dot to represent multiplication or parenthesis. Either are acceptable. So when you see words like multiply by, times, of, product of, twice, triple, or double, they're all multiplication words, while as divided by, quotient of, per, half of, split evenly, shared by, ratio of, they're all division words. Let's do some example. 4 times a number. That's going to be 4 times a number. Okay, so it's a multiplication. What about product of number and 7? Product of. Product should be making you thinking about multiplication. So product of a number, so that's going to be n and 7, and the operation between that is multiplication, so it's n times 7. 20 shared by 5 people. Okay, shared by is a division word. So 20 shared by 5 people is going to be 20 divided by 5. The ratio of 6 and a number, that's going to be, it's a division word. So it's going to be 6 divided by n. 5 groups of 3 pizza. Okay, what do you see here? The key word is of. Okay, something of something. Here is the multiplication. It's very easy to not see. Of is just such a common word that you might use for a different situation, but of is a multiplication word. So 5 of 3 is a multiplication, 5 times 3. The quotient of a number and 5, that's going to be n divided by 5. And then finally, let's make it a little bit more tricky, sum of twice the number and 5. Twice the number, okay, that's 2 times the number, and 5, so it's 2n plus 5. Then finally, the equal sign. The words that represent equals in English are is equal to, or is, or are, or were, will be, yield. These are all equal signs. So whenever you see these, then you should be changing that to equal symbol. So for example, sum of 12 and a number is 7. So sum of 12 and a number, that becomes 12 plus n, right? When you see an equal, is, that's equals 7. So 12 plus n is equal to 7. What about 7 is 4 times a number. 7 is, so that translates to 7 equals 4 times a number. 4 times a number, so 4n. So 4 times n. So 7 is equal to 4 times n. 5 fewer than the number is 15. Remember, fewer than is a turnaround word. So it's going to be n minus 5 equals 15. 3 more than twice the number is 10. More than is a turnaround word. So twice the number is 2 times n plus 3 equals 10. Then finally, the difference of a number squared and 4 is equal to 8. The difference, remember that means subtraction, of a number squared. Number squared is an exponent. Okay, so then that's going to be n squared minus 4 is equal to, that's the equal sign, 8. Last activity we are going to be doing is we're going to tackle another word problem. Okay, so and this is Mr. Pinza Burgers and Dogs. Mr. Pinza paid a total of $144 for a burger and dogs party. A hamburger is $4 and hot dog is $3. There were a total of 43 hamburgers and hot dogs combined. So we don't know how many hamburgers, how many hot dogs, but we know that the total was 43 combined of hamburgers and hot dogs. How many hamburgers and hot dogs did Mr. Pinza buy? Okay, how can we figure this out? So the first thing we need to do is we need to define our variables. So what are the two things that we need to find? How many hamburgers and hot dogs did Mr. Pinza buy? So we're looking for how many hamburgers and how many hot dogs. So we can let x be how many, the number of hamburgers, and y be the number of hot dogs. Then we need to use x and y that we have just defined and write an equation to represent the total count. The total count, you go from this sentence right here. He paid the total count. How many did he buy? Okay, so that's this sentence. There were total of should be making you thinking about addition operation. Remember, total of 43 hamburgers and hot dogs combined. So how can you translate that to algebraic equation? X is the number of hamburgers, y is the number of hot dogs. So that becomes the number of hamburgers and number of hot dogs combined. When you add those two together, it's 43. That's from this sentence here. Then finally, the x and y, write an equation to represent the total cost. So what was the total cost? Mr. Pinza paid $144. He knows that the hamburger is $4, but the hot dog is $3. So hamburger and hot dog, they cost differently. So how can I represent that? Well, the cost of all the hamburger, how much would so if he bought, say, 3 hamburgers, how much do you think he would have paid? He would have paid 3 times 4, so $12. If he got 5 hamburgers, it will be 4 times 5 or $20, right? So you always multiply however many you got by the cost of each hamburger. So you're going to multiply 4x for the cost of all hamburgers. Similarly, for the cost of hot dogs, it's going to be 3y. And the cost altogether, cost from the hamburgers and cost from the hot dog is, when you add those two together, so 4x plus 3y is 144, or we can represent that as 4x plus 3y is 144. Then from here, you go to Desmos and figure out the values for x and y, and you have just solved it. Okay, so finally, I would like you to type in chat how you feel about modeling situation as equations and then solving them, and then finish with the entry in table of content. Thank you.